Outlaw Creative says, thanks to the information, she had a beagle die from Parvovirus and an adopted Dalmatian mix that never caught it. So she's asking, can some dogs develop immunity to the Parvovirus and some survive from the virus? Well, I mean, so yeah, this is interesting. I mean, remember that vaccines aren't 100% effective. It doesn't guarantee just because you're vaccinated that a dog will be immune. Or also remember that it takes some time for the immunity to develop. So with dogs, typically we give shots 3 or 4 times with vaccines. So, you know, it's kind of a crapshoot. I mean, the thing that you can do is try to limit exposure to potentially getting parvovirus in young dogs. So no parks, limit your vet's office visits. All these are places that parvo is likely to be present. So I think the only thing that you can really do is vaccinate your dogs correctly, the right times, with 3 weeks interval between vaccines, 4 vaccines starting at 6 weeks old, and then limit their access to places where other dogs that might have parvo might have visited. And that will get you the best chance of not getting parvo. Kilo, the brand. My baby had a bad prolapse. It's her first heat and just came out the other day. Should I take it to the hospital? I've been keeping it clean and greased. I was planning on breeding her. Will I be able to? Yes, you'll be able to breed her. Yes, you can typically breed through a prolapse. What a prolapse is that with a dog, you see this large structure, looks like a tennis ball hanging out the back end of the dog. I mean, you can have an anal prolapse, you can have a vaginal prolapse. They're both obviously at the back end of the dog. And in both these cases, the right treatment is to clean it off as best you can, get it greased up, and try and push it back in. If it gets big enough and it won't stay in, there's the danger is that it can get damaged by another dog or hung up on something. And so in those situations, if it's big enough, and I say big enough, the size of a large tangerine or bigger, it's probably time to have a purse stitch put in, where they basically push it back in and then put a stitch around the opening to stop it falling back out. You can breed through a prolapse, and it's what's recommended. Typically prolapses, next breeding, they don't occur. If you've got a dog with a prolapse, breed it, but certainly think about C-sections at the other end of the pregnancy, because you don't want high intrauterine pressures blowing this thing back out. And you can avoid that by having a C-section. So the answer is yes. Some vets, and I talked to somebody the other day, the vet wanted to spay the dog because of a prolapse. That's nuts. You don't need to spray a dog because of a prolapse. You can absolutely breed through a prolapse. Done it many, many times. Is it safe to breed a female dog having a UTI? Will that affect her on having a big litter? Well, if you know the dog's got a UTI, go get some antibiotics on board. So that's the first thing. There's a couple of things that you can do. You can do a douche with a female feminine product to help with some acidity to help the UTI. That's a good thing to do. But don't do that directly before or directly after doing an AI, because you likely kill the semen. Probably a better approach is to get some antibiotics on board. Will that affect the litter? Yes, if you don't get it taken care of. You may not even get the dog pregnant, so that affects the litter. So if you've got a UTI, face it head on, treat the UTI, go ahead and breed. Wicked Good Bulldogs. Frozen fresh plasma has a shelf life of 5 years. Okay, there you go. So this is what we were talking about using for fading puppies. We give all of our puppies 3.5 mils sub-Q at 24 hours old. Okay, so the thing about, she says she gets hers from Dr. Jean Dodds at Hemopet, which I believe is a place I've been buying it from too. I think they got the best price on it. So you can give it orally, but it has to be within the first 24 hours. After you're a day and a half or older, it has to be sub-Q. So that's what she's talking about. So great, thank you. Ant Clay 01. Hi James, Tammy, I hope you're doing well, blah, blah, blah. I had my, what are we talking about here? So we're talking about a dog that's been eating raw canine Frenchie kibble since I got her at 9 weeks old. Constant diarrhea, mild gas with a spot of blood. I started giving her 1 teaspoon of pure pumpkin paste, 1 teaspoon a day for 4 days. Now the stool is solid, good. But she's still spotting blood. Bright red bloods. She's eating and she's being playful. Okay, so So the question is, what's going on here? So she's feeding raw canine kibble, great. That's a good quality product. She had some diarrhea, she added some pumpkin paste, that firmed it up, great, that's good. But she's still got some blood in there, why? Because she has probably an intestinal parasite. Coccidia or Giardia are the most likely things. And so your next goal is to find out what is irritating her intestine. Anytime you've got blood and stool, there's some kind of irritation going on. And typically, it could be a number of things. You know, you've got some things called things like irritable bowel syndrome, which means we don't know what the hell it is, but we'll call it something. Or it's something specific, typically Giardia or Coccidia. And you can test for Giardia with a snap test, it's very easy to do. And Coccidia, you can do a fecal flotation. That's what you need to do. She also says, I just want to say most channels regurgitate the same advice they've heard on a channel before. I'm glad I found you. Well, yeah, you're welcome. Good. So I think this is in relation possibly, as it says, how hot is too hot when you're keeping newborn puppies warm? Well, so the problem here is that when people ask me about that, they're typically asking about our incubator. And we set that to 38 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 100 degrees. 38 degrees Fahrenheit was 38 degrees centigrade, which is 100 degrees Fahrenheit. That seems pretty hot. But remember, ours is not like the other ones that are other ones are almost always forced air. They heat the air up, they dry the air out, and the temperature is typically lower, something around maybe 90 degrees. With our system, the heat comes up through the floor. It does not dry the air out. But you've got to have the floor temperature warmer than the puppy, or the heat doesn't go into the puppy. The puppy's temperature is close to 100 degrees. That's why we set the incubator at 100 degrees. And so the floor will feel mildly warm, and that's the way it should be set up. But that's only for our incubator, and that's not for other people's products. Other people's products, you're going to have to read the directions. I can't give you the answer for other people's products because I don't know what they are. How long does it take, this is Melody, how long does it take for a Frenchie to heal up after a C-section surgery to breed her again? Well, she should have healed up way before, I mean, by the time you're weaning puppies, she should be completely healed up. So the stitches should be out at 10 days, and she should be over the effects of her C-section within a couple of weeks of the C-section. Now, if you've got reddened scars, opened up scars, a dog that's not feeling well, you need to go to the vet and find out what the heck's wrong, because she should have healed up for that surgery within a couple of weeks of the surgery. The next time that she comes into heat is another month after the first heat. Since the whelp process was 2 months, it means in 4 more months it is better to come back into heat. She should be completely over the C-section surgery by then. Somebody's saying that, Darren's saying that she's glad that Tammy's feeling well. Me too. Don Little, what do you do with a long tail? We've got pups 4 months now who have coiled tails. Will they pass it off to the offspring? It's the only one out of the litter. Okay, so I think what they're saying here is you've got 4-month-old puppies. One puppy has a coiled tail. So what do you do about it? Nothing. Well, you could go have surgery done on the dog, but the dog's going to have to be intubated and everything else. And you probably want to wait till the dog's 6 months old before you go down that road. And, you know, is it a problem? Probably not. Will it be passed on to the other puppies? Probably not. You know, if it is a genetic thing, then it's got to have 2 dogs involved in this, the mum and the dad. And since you're going to have a different dad than last time because you're not going to inbreed this dog, it probably won't be a problem. Shady. My female coming pregnant with a second Singleton litter. Oh dear, small litter. I'm not sure if I should even breed her again. Is it normal for anybody? First time breeding the pup. Was a water baby and did not survive. Each time bred with a different stud. AI first time with surgical second, and surgical and second. Any advice? Well, I mean, so there's a couple of things going on here. One is the litter size, singletons. Nobody wants singletons. Why is that happening? Typically, singletons are happening because, number one, you got your timing wrong. Number 2, the quality of the semen. Number 3, the technique for the AI. Number 4, something wrong with your female. Number 5, you got unlucky. You've had 2 in a row, so I suspect this is not a luck thing. There's something else going on here. So what's your advice? I'd breed to another dog, stud dog, probably do AIs and do at least 2 AIs 2 days apart and try and get your numbers right. As far as the water baby is concerned, I mean, you know, this doesn't happen very often. The treatment for a water baby, somebody else asked me about this, is Lasix. You give them Lasix to see if they can pee the water off. They don't always survive. In fact, they probably don't survive most of the time. Never experienced it myself, so don't have any direct experience with this. I think that's just an unlucky thing, but the Singleton thing is probably not unlucky. There's probably something you can do about it. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you got some good information out of it. I hope you subscribe to our channel. Brought to you by mybreedersupply.com. We've been in business for over 8 years. We manufacture products to help you have successful breedings, successful whelps, and successful puppies. We've introduced a new subscription service, canineconnect.com. It's a 1-year subscription for $129, and for that you get 2-day free shipping on all of your orders. You get 5% off every order that you place, and you get direct access to our support line to help you with products that you buy from us and general questions about breeding your dogs. It's really a great deal. I hope you subscribe to that. Now the disclaimer. I'm not a licensed veterinarian. I'm not a professional health giver, but I am a guy that's been breeding dogs successfully for over 20 years. Any information you get from my videos is purely at your own risk. If you have any doubts about any of this stuff, you should definitely seek the help of a licensed professional. Again, thanks for watching. Have fun with your doggies. Bye, buddy.